So, hello guys, and welcome to another weekly trading recap. So, for the past week, price action has been a little bit slow. The market has been slow, and that is why I have not been consistent with the weekly trading recap because for about 2 weeks or so, most setups that I get will just be one setup, two setup for the whole week. And most times I just share it on my Telegram and then just leave it. All right. But for today, I just said, let me do this. Okay. So welcome to a weekly trading recap where I share the setups that I had for the week and then how we can learn from them. Okay. So before we get to that, let's do a quick recap of my strategy for those joining for the first time and those that are here before now. So, you can try to remember what we're doing here. So the first thing that I'm waiting for my strategy is to know where price is coming from and then where price is going to, which is top-down analysis. So let's say price is selling and I can see that price is selling. So take probably that price is selling from here and is headed somewhere here. First, I do a top-down analysis, and those that are not joining for the first time knows how I do my top-down analysis. So if you don't know, you can check other weekly trading insights or weekly trading recap, and then you get it. So after knowing where price is coming from and where price is going to, I wait for a sweep. So this case is a downtrend giving series of lower highs, lower low, lower highs, lower low. So I first wait for a sweep of liquidity and then a break of structure. And then I wait for a structural point, which I call the structural liquidity. Now, for a structural liquidity to be valid, there must be a first sweep. And then the lower high after the sweep is what I call my structural liquidity. So my structural liquidity acts as my execution area. So I basically wait for price to take out my structural liquidity and then boom, to the downside. So first, I do a top-down analysis to know where price is coming from and where price is going to. And then the next thing I wait for is sweep of liquidity, a sweep of either a buy-side liquidity or a sell-side liquidity. Buy-side liquidity above highs, sell-side liquidity below lows, and then I wait for a break of structure. So this break of structure tells me that this is a sweep of liquidity and not a change of character. So it reveals market intent and tell me the direction that market is going to. And then after the break of structure, I wait to see a structural point, which often become my structural liquidity. And then a second break of structure to validate the structural liquidity and then, make the trend more stronger. So I wait for structural liquidity to be taken out, tap my POI, give me a confirmation, and then I enter for it to the downside. So if you don't know the confirmation that I use, you can watch. I dropped a video on that on this YouTube or anywhere you see the video. I believe I dropped it in all of my social media platforms, so you can scroll down and then see the confirmation that I use. So now let's go to the charts. The first trade that I had for last week, I believe, was V25-1X. So if you're familiar with V25-1X, V25-1X is basically selling. And from my top-down analysis, price is selling from here and is headed towards here, right? Although I am not interested in this sell again because there's a contrary POI here. So I'm just basically out. I'm waiting for price to come here, give me a valid confirmation, and then I begin to look for my buys. All right. So let's see the POI that I had this week together. So the POI was on the 1 hour time frame. A very sweet sell. Like I said, first, we wait for what? A sweep of liquidity, which I said can either be a buy-side liquidity sweep or a sell-side liquidity sweep. So we have this as our first sweep, and then the next thing is a break of structure. which is this. And then we have what's our structural liquidity, which is this. And then our second break of structure, which is this. So I basically wait for price to tap here, give me a valid confirmation, and then I enter to the downside. So you can see that price, followed what he was supposed to do, and then we have a full break of structure. We have a full take profit, sorry. So I was expecting price to come back here, but price didn't do that. So if you're interested to sell Volatility 25 1x, you can sell from somewhere around here. Although I will do a weekly trading insight on Monday so that, I can give out the trades that I'm looking forward to take for the week. So you guys can, either copy it or learn from it as well. All right. So this was our first trade. And then my other trade, I believe I just had 2 setups for last week. Like I always say, I don't trade what the market is not presenting. I always, stay patient and then wait for the market to give me what it was supposed to give. So if I don't see any setup that is meeting my full criteria, I am not so interested in taking it. That was how I basically trade. Okay, so for V10, price is coming from the top of the analysis here. So we had a sweep here. And then there was a tiny structural liquidity here. If you go to the lower time frame, you see it very, very well. So price was coming from here and it was headed here. And what do we need to do? We need to follow suit. So we go to the lower time frame, the 1 hour, the 30 minutes time frame. So, see the POIs that we have, and then we follow suit. All right. So I had a setup here. Volatility 10 is fond of giving a confirmation way below your POI. So we had a tiny sweep here. Let me go to the 30 minutes. We had a tiny sweep here, and then a break of structure here. This is our structural point, and then this is our second break of structure. So price tapped it, gave an evening star confirmation. Sorry, morning star confirmation, not evening star. Evening star is at the end of an uptrend. If I'm right, yes. You can watch my video for confirmation. So price gave a valid confirmation here, till candlestick confirmation, like I explained. And I told you guys that it is after the close of the third candle that you have your entry. So my entry was here, and then stop loss here, just few pips below, and then this is our take profits. So assuming you were supposed to enter the trade, enter from here, and then here is your take profits. Your price is coming from before taking out your structural liquidity is your take profits. And then let me give this as a bonus tip. A contrary order block is usually an exit. Yes. So for this setup, exit was supposed to be here. Okay. And then we'll have full take profit, and then you can see price reversed immediately. Okay. So these were the 2 setups that I had for the week. Price action is a bit slow, like I said, but the price is trying to arrange himself. We're still looking at V100 1x, V15 1x, and the likes of that. I'm waiting for V100 1s to close below this, and then I look for sales. The top of the analysis is from a sell POI around here, and it's heading somewhere around here, right? Somewhere around here. But there's a contrary POI here. From my last video, I explained it. There's a contrary POI here. So for my strategy, contrary POIs tend to hold for a little while before, breaking everything and then start going to the downside. So the best thing to do is to wait and then see how price will react. Probably wait for price to break out, retest, and then, give you structures to the downside. So this is what I am waiting for. This is what I'm waiting for. Okay, same for V15 1x. Price is still selling, but is respecting a contrary POI here. this POI is not supposed to hold, but with the strategy, it tends to hold a bit and then, break everything to the downside. All right, so we're waiting for this to break out and then we enter for a sell. Okay, so we're not in a hurry to place trade. We're waiting to see what will happen. The market is still fresh. Remember, a capital that is preserved is better than any setup that you miss. So if your setup is not giving you your full criteria, the best thing to do is just to basically leave it and then wait for a good setup that will present itself. Of course, the market will always present good setups from time to time. Take, for example, I didn't take trades for about 2 weeks before I had my first trade, which was the V25 1X. And you can see that the two setups that I had was in profits, right? So patience always winning first. Patience is also a strategy. So be patient. If you don't know the confirmation that I use, you can watch the video. I posted it on my social media platform, one of the confirmation candlestick that I used to enter my trade. I believe that's the title. So you can watch it and then learn, practice, learn from your losses. If you had a losing streak this week, don't enter next week with the same mindset. Practice, study your losses, and then when the market opens on Sunday for those that are trading currency pairs, you learn from them. But synthetic indices, the market is still ongoing. And then if there are good setups, I'll try to share it on my Telegram channel. Remember, you can always join my Telegram channel where I drop my trade setups for free so that you can, take it with me, watch my confirmation candlestick video, and then use it to enter the trade. And then you are good. You can start making your money, right? So save, guys, and we'll see on Monday if I have good setups for our weekly trading insights. So study your charts, study your losses, and then enter the new week with a better mindset. And I'm wishing you a profitable forex journey. Safe, guys.